For those of you who have a studio as dirty as mine, these two are absolute lifesavers. The brush and hand cleaner, this is exceptional. After a long day of creating, when you've got paint everywhere, it really breaks free anything that's being stubborn. That's slightly different to our brush restorer, where even brushes that paint has been dried on them for years and years. Give it a couple of days soaking in the brush restorer, work it out a little bit, and it will be as good as new. Both of these products, as with everything we make, designed with sustainability in mind, which means it's non-toxic, non-hazardous, not a pollutant, vegan and cruelty-free. And very importantly, 100% natural. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey, where we've gone through what paint is and the differences between different kinds of paints, like acrylics, oils and watercolours. They're made up of the binder, the colorants and the vehicles. We've talked about how water-based acrylic paint dries, where they all coalesce together, and that thing that's always good to know, between about 12 and 30 degrees, paints are the happiest. We've talked about how we see colour. Light either emits or reflects from things. And we talked about white light in relation to Isaac Newton and his prism. We also talked about transparency and the difference between the pigments and what you get in a tube. We talked about our paint ranges, the differences between structure and flow, fluids and inks, the benefits of using our background, and of course our studio range. We talked about organic versus inorganic pigments from a chemistry perspective, as well as the old masters versus modernist colour wheel. Our first big mediums card, where we focused on our surface prep, which included our gessos, as well as clear sealer, watercolour ground, and our background colours. Next, we moved on to our builders, which really gives you the ability to have some volume in your painting. We had our thinning mediums, which were the variety of mediums used to modify the viscosity of the paint. We talked about effects, which gives you different textures and finishes in your artworks. We focused on our MM37, MM5 and MM24, as well as our whole dry mediums range. We discussed our drying mediums that give us the ability to blend more easily, layer and glaze our paintings, as well as extend the working time. We had our additives, which when added to the paint, allow it to be used for a different medium completely, like printing, fabric fixative, or even our MM5, similar to a permanent gouache. We looked over our varnishes, our 3 polymer varnishes, 2 of our Poly U, and of course our 4 terps-based varnishes, which allowed for an adjustment of the sheen level, protective qualities from heat and UV, as well as our 2-part system, which will allow paintings to be restored for generations to come. Thank you again for spending the time with us. And of course, if anything hasn't made sense, please feel free to reach out. Goodbye. Hopefully we'll see you again soon.